Well, super excited to be back in studio, be back with you again this week. Man, there are a lot of things, and I mean a lot of things going on in the automotive industry right now, as you know. I mean, clearly the inventory woes continue as we are in this interesting place here in the world of automotive, and those inventory woes will continue, just so that we are very, very clear on that. They are going to continue for quite a while. My guess is, if I were a guessing man, that you're going to have inventory issues late into 2022. No doubt about it. The good news is those inventory issues on the new side create massive opportunities for us over on used, which is massive opportunities to make more gross, massive opportunities to have more control ultimately of our destiny and our success as a dealership. So I'm super excited about that aspect of it. So there are still cars that are piled up waiting for delivery all over the country, and hopefully we'll get a little relief on those, and I'm sure you're seeing some start to trickle, but I'm telling you, it is not over yet. We are not in the out of the woods. We are not out of the woods when it comes to this particular situation. Now, with that said, there are some things that are going on outside of our world that are some indicators as well of what's to come. So you may be seeing a little bit of a dip in sales, not necessarily inventory related, but more related to the consumers, to the market, what's going on out there politically, economically, so on and so forth. So I did some research, and if you look, even Amazon has experienced a tremendous drop in sales here in the last month. There are multiple Amazon sellers that have been talking about this in blog rooms. I have a friend who owns a couple huge Amazon stores, and he said it's crazy, man. It's just kind of on ghost town. Here's one of the quotes from, or one of the shares in one of the blog rooms. Second 5-day streak this month with 0 sales, and today I had a return request on my last sale 5 days ago due to a buyer being blah to read the condition notes. Bottom barrel sales and insane jump in return requests over the last 2 months, making it really difficult for me to want to bother with Amazon anymore. Well, the problem is definitely not with Amazon. The problem is the sentiment is changing. The government dollars are starting to be reduced. They're not flowing the way that they used to. The unemployment dollars, so on and so forth. And with a new season around the corner of what that's going to look like for people, people are realizing that the money doesn't just keep coming forever, and they can't just keep spending forever. They're going to have to get to work. They've got things that they need to do, and they probably need to quit spending so much frivolously. And so we're starting to see that the buyer sentiment is changing a little bit, which means that you're going to be affected by that as well. It will not be as free flowing as it was. Basically, long story short, the party's over, boys and girls. The party is over. The party that we've had for the last 5 or 6 months, where every piece of inventory you had, you could just sell, and people would just lay down and pay whatever price is, and all of those things. That party is over, and that's okay. It was fun. We learned a lot, and we made a bunch of money, and we created lots of opportunities moving forward. So with that said, what are the most concerning matters going forward? Because that's what matters most, right? What's happened in the past, where we're at, so on and so forth, all of that doesn't help us going forward. So what are the most concerning matters going forward? And here's what I believe is one of the most concerning matters all of you need to consider going into the third and fourth quarter, going into this season. And here's basically my concern. Salespeople all around the country are celebrating as though they have done something spectacular. They are celebrating as though they were not the recipients of the rewards that came with the economic situation. I see salespeople buying big houses. I see salespeople buying expensive cars. I see salespeople buying quads and razors. I see salespeople that are spending their money like crazy. Now, here's the thing. They're spending money like crazy, but ultimately their volume is down. Across the board, what we're seeing is salespeople are selling less cars this month specifically, July. They're selling less cars, yet they're making more money, right? Less cars, more money. So gross is up, volume is down. Now, this is an incredibly bad scenario for you, for them, for everyone. This is a terrible scenario. Might look good on your paycheck, might look good because you have to do less work, but what this does is it causes us to lose momentum, and it also causes us to stop practicing the things that we're going to need to know how to do, and ultimately going forward, which is the biggest concern, right? Our salespeople have a false sense of security, and they are experiencing a loss of momentum. They don't realize it yet because their paychecks are good, but they're experiencing a loss of momentum. Now, here's how momentum works. Okay, this is why I'm a huge advocate of a salesperson needs to sell one car a day every single day that they're at work. Because when they start to lose momentum, ultimately there's a shift in energy. Their energy levels start to change, their energy levels start to decrease, and they start creating additional bad habits to ultimately get some type of adrenaline rush, some type of momentum, something, right? So they start to create these bad habits. They start to slow down. Before they were moving fast, they start to slow down. And mentally, they start to get into this space. Whenever they go a day without a sale, they start to get into this, funk, right? They get in this place where they're a little bit depressed. They spend a little bit more time sitting, pondering, thinking, are they in the right job? Are they in the right position? So on and so forth. Now, it's interesting, right? They're making tons of money. You think they'd be super excited. They'd be trying harder. It's not the way it works. When the money comes easier, the effort and the energy required gets reduced, and we start to lose momentum. Let me make sure you have an understanding of this word momentum, exactly what it means, how it's defined, and how it works.
Momentum is inertia in motion. A lot of momentum means a lot of oomph. An even better way to describe momentum is as the product of mass times velocity. This means that if something is moving, there are two ways to affect its momentum. One, there's the mass. For the same speed, a massive truck has so much more momentum than a mosquito. And two, look at the velocity. A baseball thrown gently by a kid will be easy to catch. That same baseball thrown at 100 miles per hour might knock you over. So a tiny bullet at a high speed has a lot of momentum. Wear a bullet vest and it'll still knock you over. An oil tanker creeping along at only a few miles per hour also has a lot of momentum, not by virtue of its speed, but by virtue of its great mass. Because it has so much momentum, so much inertia in motion, the tanker can't just pull into the dock. Rather, it's greeted by powerful tugboats that help to manage its maneuvering. A fast-flying tiny bullet and a creeping massive oil tanker are both difficult to stop. Both have a lot of oomph. That is, a lot of inertia in motion, which you now know to be what we call momentum. Good energy.
All right, I hope that makes sense, right? It's all about that oomph. We got to make sure they have that oomph. So when we allow a salesperson to go even a day without a sale, they start to lose that velocity, right? Salespeople are not mass. They're not the oil tanker. They're more like the bullet, right? So we need them to have speed and velocity, and that is created ultimately by continuous wins. So now that they've lost some velocity, they start to slow down. And when they start to slow down, their chest isn't pumped out as big as it normally is. So they have less mass, right? They've actually reduced their mass. They've reduced their velocity. And that combination means when they run into some type of objection, some type of tough customer, some type of inventory issue, it's just like running into glass, right? The glass doesn't break. They can't break through because they don't have enough velocity. They don't have enough mass. They don't have enough energy. They don't have enough momentum. Make sense? All right, so check it out. Momentum. Which one of these, I want you to take a look at the screen right here and tell me which of these statements are true about momentum and which of these statements are untrue. So let me read them off. Momentum, 1, magnifies success. Momentum, 2, shrinks problems. Momentum, 3, energizes. Momentum, 4, enhances performance. Momentum, 5, makes change easier. So which of these statements about momentum are true and which one of them are not true? I want you to think about it for just a second. Look at the screen. Go through each one by one. Think about your individual situation in your store. Think about times where you've had some momentum and times that you haven't. And which one of these will you feel applies? Now that you've had a moment to take a look at that, I'm going to give you the answer. The answer is this. All of these are true. All 5 of these are true. When you have incredible momentum, it magnifies success. This is how we go from selling 120 cars a month to selling 1,000 in a month, right? Or from 120 to 150 to 180 to 250 to 300 to 400 to 6 to 8. It starts to magnify the success. The momentum as we keep going, right? We're like, oh, yeah, we can do that. We can break that record. We can sell more. We can keep increasing. We can keep going. We can break through that glass. We can break through that wall. It magnifies success, right? Now, momentum also shrinks problems. When everyone is winning, it makes it much easier to deal with any kind of problem situation, right? Makes it much easier to solve that solution. For example, we've got some momentum. We've sold a bunch of cars. We sold 5 cars today, 15 cars today. We sold 35 cars today. And then the deal comes and it's a customer that has a major objection and we're $2,000 off on the trade. We're $50 a month off on the payment. All of these things. It's much easier for us when we've got that momentum to say, you know what? Just do it. You've done that, right? You know what? We already sold 28 cars today. We made $60,000 in gross. Just go ahead and do it. Just do the deal, right? Momentum solves problems. It makes the problems easier. It shrinks them. They're much, much smaller. Momentum energizes. I think you all know and understand exactly how this works, right? When's the best time to sell a car? Right after you just sold one. The energy that is there, the pump up, the excitement level, we got the deal done, we closed it, we achieved the goal, it carries over and it energizes that human, it energizes the desk, it energizes everybody involved. Momentum enhances performance. 100%, no doubt, you totally get it. Your top performers that sell cars, they continue to sell more and more. They are consistent with it. They don't necessarily have the best systems. They don't necessarily have the best process. They don't necessarily have the cleanest paperwork. They don't have any of those things. But what they have is that's carrying them is ultimately this momentum and this enhanced performance that comes along with it. And then number 5, momentum makes change easier. While we're winning, it's much easier to say, hey, we're winning right now. You're getting big paychecks. You're doing a great job. So let's add this. Let's add. We're going to change a certain part of our process. We're going to change your position. We're going to promote you into a different position. We're going to move you over here, or we're going to change and we're going to go do change a lot around, right? Why don't we put some new cars over here, some new trucks over here, change that? And the people are like, yeah, sure, whatever, cool, I'm winning. It's easy. Whereas if they're dead, dying on the vine, sitting around doing nothing, and then you ask them to do something, it's like trying to get a train going in the beginning. It takes forever just to get them to go to like stand up out of their desk or to make a phone call, right? So momentum makes change easier. So all 5 of these things are true. So that's why this momentum is so incredibly important, and that's why it's so incredibly concerning the state of the salespeople across the nation right now as we head into this season. Now, I know you've felt everything that I'm talking about. I know that what you understand when you're rolling, great things start to happen in your dealership, right? It's magic. It's energetic magic. The problems are easier to solve. The heat case is much easier to handle when winning versus getting a heat case when everybody's down, or I just keep getting that same bad credit customer. Like those conversations don't happen anymore. All of a sudden, the environment is just electric, right? People are shouting, they're cheering, they're hoo-hoo, like all of those things, right? Everyone works better together. And they're basically down for anything, right? They're down for whatever you say. Yeah, sure, that sounds great. Let's go do it. So you've experienced all of this. I know that you have. And ultimately, your momentum is required in order for you to have long-term growth. It's not an option. It's not something we hope for. Momentum is required for long-term growth. This is why most companies have these ebbs and flows, and most companies ultimately end up trending down. They lose some momentum, right? So how do we build momentum that is going to stay and continue to grow through this upcoming season? How do we do that? And I'm going to give you the steps right here, right now, how you can energize your people, how you can continue the momentum, even though the market's a little flipped upside down and technically they could work less and sell less. We're going to create an environment where they don't fall into that. So step number one, momentum is a series of successful endings, not beginnings. I want you to make sure to understand that, okay? A train in its initial state is very, very hard. At the beginning, it's hard. At the end, it can break through brick walls when it's going 70 miles an hour down the track, right? So momentum is a series of successful endings, not beginnings. So we need to create as many endings as humanly possible. We have to find wins that we can celebrate on the consistent. Like, I don't care what it is right now. This is why we do a daily goal, right? A daily goal, so we can celebrate a win. You get that. Versus a 30-day. This is why we do the daily. But right now, you're going to need more things to celebrate because those endings, those completions, those celebrations is what creates more momentum. So we have to find ways to celebrate. So I'm going to give you a couple. If your team's showing up on time every day for your daily meetings, that's something you can celebrate. Hey, John, man, dude, I've been watching you. You've been 5 minutes early to the meeting every day. I really appreciate that. I love the energy and the tenacity that you bring to the table. Great job, right? We celebrate that. The whole team's showing up for the meeting. You're able to start right at 8:30 a.m. Hey, before we get this meeting kicked off, bravo. I know you guys got a lot of things going on. I know you got kids. I know you got school. I know you got spouses. I know you've got traffic. I know you got all these different things. And you were all here on time, ready to rock and roll, right? Like, find little wins. Find ways to celebrate. You see somebody picking up the trash out on the lot. Bring that person in the meeting the next morning. Stand them up in front of everybody and say, you know what? I saw Allison out on the lot yesterday. She picked up a piece of trash. It was unprovoked. She didn't have to do that. Thanks for taking care of our facility, Allison. Means the world to me. Everybody, round of applause for Allison, right? Let's find ways. Let's find ways to celebrate. Anytime somebody's doing things without being asked to do so, that is an opportunity for you to celebrate them and for you to create and build some inertia and some more momentum. The second way that we're going to build momentum is we're going to understand that we're going to reach our big wins through our small wins, all right? Sometimes we get really, really stuck focused on the big goal. The big goal of how much gross we're looking for the month, the big goal of how many cars we want to sell for the month, the big goal of where we want to be ultimately for the year, where we want our careers to progress. Sometimes we get really, really, really caught up in the big goals, and we need to make sure to understand and repeat and let the salespeople know and our sales managers know that small wins are the key. So if you look at like a baseball game, right, it's all about base hits, not home runs. The base hits are what's most important. We got to get on base. We got to get people rocking and rolling. So the small win would be metaphorically like getting that base hit. And sometimes it's even a little bunt, right? It's a little bunt. Okay, great job. You guys sold 3 used cars today. Awesome. Congratulations. Now that we've advanced that, tomorrow we're going to get 4, right? Don't scare me off by saying we got to sell 200 for the month when I'm in the middle of a day where I sold 4 cars, right? You're like, hey guys, we got to get to 200. You ain't going to get there 4 cars at a time. No. That's not going to work. We're going to go, hey guys, great job on the 4. Love that. Appreciate that. Tomorrow we're going to get 5. Thursday we're going to get 6. Friday we're going to get 7. Saturday we're going to get 8. And you're going to start getting some momentum that's going to get you back on track. So please focus on the small wins, not the big wins. The third thing is you're going to need to realize that momentum is something that sneaks up on you. Momentum is not something that you can just achieve overnight. Momentum is not something that you just snap your fingers and all of a sudden it's there. Momentum is something that will slowly creep up on you over time as you add these little small wins, these little small celebrations, these little small conversations. All of a sudden it'll sneak up on you, and in time it'll hit. And you'll know it when it hits, right? You'll know it when it hits because you'll feel it. Again, people will be dancing, celebrating, laughing, cheering, hooting and hollering, right? All of those things. So you'll know when that momentum's there and you can really lean in on it. But it's going to take time. These things do not happen overnight. So I need you to commit right now to doing these small actions daily and giving it enough time to grow. See, sometimes as leaders, we want it now. Dude, we need it now. We need it today. You guys sucked yesterday. Let's go. We need to rock and roll, right? It's not going to get you there. Think of the infinite game. We've been training on infinite game for 2 years now, right? Infinite game is what we're playing. The game is to stay in the game. It's not to win August. It's not to win July. It's not to win November. It's not to win 2021. That's not the game. The game is infinite. It's to stay in the game as long as humanly possible with consistent and steady growth over time. So please understand, rushing or intending to rush, trying to rush will actually slow down your momentum. Don't do it. Number 4. Is we always have to make sure we're giving our salespeople and our leaders the next steps. A minute ago, I mentioned 4 today, 5 tomorrow, 6, 7, 8. I've seen some dealers across the nation, they'll have their boards set up with a goal that they want for the month, and every day is the same. Well, if we just sell 7 cars a day every day, then we'll hit our goal. No. It doesn't work like that. What's the next step? I need what's next. As a human being, I need what's next. I just got done with this event in New York City. At the end of the event, the immediate conversation I had with my team is, here's what's next. Okay, we just spent 3 days in New York. We delivered an over-the-top experience for everybody that was there. We now have video. We now have B-roll. We now have audio clips. We now have photos. We now have all of these things. So here's what we're going to do with that. That's next. That's going to lead to the bigger goal. That's going to lead to the promotion. That's going to lead to the advancement of the company. That's going to lead to the advancement of our mission. Like, we have to give them next steps always. And as we give them more next steps, that's more things for them to accomplish. That's more things for us to celebrate. That's more things for us to whisper, pat on the back, and cheer for in the space in between that ultimately creates the momentum. Make sense? So please don't give me a celebration and don't tell me what to do next. Please don't allow us to hit a goal or a target and not tell me what to do next. I need next steps. It's so important. All right. So those are some of the things that I need you to do. I need you to do those 4 things. Make sure to create a bunch of endings. Make sure to reach your big wins through small wins and stay focused on that. Make sure to give it time and realize momentum sneaks up on you. It cannot be forced. And then also make sure you're consistently giving your team next steps that include growth. You guys did 15% increase last month. We're going to go to 17% increase. We're going to go to 19. We're going to go to 23. We're going to go to 28. We're going to go to 34. We're going to go to 35. We're going to go for 40. We're going to go to 50, right? We're going to give them next steps. What's next? What's the next bar? What's the next achievement? What's the next thing for me to shoot for? All right? So those are the things I need you to do. Now, there's also some things I need you not to do during this season. If you really want to make sure that you gain some momentum and we get these boys and girls rocking and rolling, ready for the season ahead. All right? So here's one of the things I need you to not do. Number one, I need you to not ever focus on and talk about the problems. Talking about problems kills momentum. Now, obviously, we want to talk about areas of development. We want to talk about solutions, things that we can do moving forward. But talking about problems does nothing but kill the momentum. This is why on your boards, we have the green days and red days. And this is why I tell you on your green days to celebrate, on your red days to say nothing. Nothing at all. Don't say a word, right? Because if you come at me and you say, oh my gosh, you guys were awful yesterday. You goose-egged yesterday. Oh my gosh, you guys came up 12 cars short of the target yesterday. When you come at me like that, I shrink. I shrink back. I feel small, right? And backwards clearly is a loss of momentum. When you focus on the problem of not having new car inventory, or you even excuse that, you say, hey, well, we don't have any new cars. I understand why your numbers are low. We don't have any new cars. The manufacturer won't give us what they said they're going to give us. This stupid microchip thing, the COVID, the vaccine, the politics, the president, whatever it is, when you allow the problem to be discussed, when you allow the problem to be brought up, it loses momentum. It causes a loss in momentum. Instead, we want to say great news. We've got tons of used car inventory and opportunities to make more gross and to make more customers happy. Great news. With COVID and vaccines and lockdowns and shutdowns, great news is we've now adapted to where we have an online way that people can do business with us. They never have to leave their couch in order for them to be able to buy a vehicle, right? We want to focus on the solution, never, ever, ever the problem. Solutions create momentum. Problems create a reduction in momentum. Number two thing I need you to not do. Please do not devalue small wins. You see, in a game of football, you've got running backs, you've got quarterbacks, you've got passes, and you've got run plays. A run play might only be a yard on first down, but now it's 2nd and 9 versus 2nd and 10. Another run play might get me to 3rd and 4. I get 5 yards. Well, now I'm 3rd and 4 versus 3rd and 10. And with 4 yards to go, I can open up my playbook. I can call audibles. I can do play action. I can maybe pass the ball. I can maybe run the ball. I get to choose. I can have the quarterback run the ball. I can do a handoff. I can do a sweep. I can do all types of different things when I'm at 3rd and 4 than I can at 3rd and 9. You see, small wins along the way, when you tend to devalue those, it makes me feel as though you're devaluing me. Something that might be a big deal to me might not be a big deal to you. Maybe it's a big deal to me when I buy my first 800 square foot apartment. Maybe that's a big deal to me. Don't devalue that and say, well, one day you're going to be able to get your own house. No. Great job on getting that 800 square foot apartment. I'm proud of you. Maybe I'm going to go run or walk half a mile and it's going to take me 20 minutes to do so. Don't say, oh, well, I can run a mile in 8 minutes. Say, oh, great job on getting that first half mile knocked down. I'm proud of you. Never devalue. Just because it's not up to your standard does not give you the right to devalue that person. Devaluing small wins will kill your momentum. I hear a lot of you telling the salespeople or your leadership staff, well, of course you guys had a good month. Look at the economy. Everyone's breaking records. I've heard that. I've heard that across the nation. You know, they did a good job, but what do you mean, but? They did a good job. They broke the record. They made you more money than you've ever made. There's no but. They did a great job. Do not devalue ever as a leader. Do not devalue your people's wins. Number 3 thing I need you to stop. Do not ever separate the goal from the people. You see, your people, not your processes, are ultimately what get it done. Sometimes we can tend to be looking at our numbers, our statements, the numbers on the board, the goals and the targets, and we can start talking and having conversations around how if we just fixed this process, we would sell more cars. If we put in this new process, we would sell more cars. And here's the reality. When you tell me that the process is ultimately the solution and not me as a person, I'm going to lose momentum. I'm going to feel less than. You see, we want to be people-centric in our organizations. It's incredibly important. You can take a great process. I've seen it all over the nation. You take great processes, put them in great stores, tons of inventory in great locations, and they don't sell nothing. Why? Because they have bad people. Bad people, bad culture, right? So the processes are not the key to success. It's the people that are the key to the success, the people that execute on the processes. Now, of course, you want to have good processes. You have to have good systems. What I'm saying is don't separate that from the fact that your people are really the ones that are getting it done. So never, again, separate your goals from the people. I want you to always elevate them. Let them know that they created the environment. They created the situation. They created the win. Not the process, the people. Number 4 thing I need you to not do. Do not focus on weaknesses, only focus on strengths. Now, this is something I had to learn. I'm still learning with my kids. Sometimes it's really difficult. It's interesting. In school, when you would take a test and you would get, it was a 20-question test, and you would get 17 questions right and 3 questions wrong. What would the teacher always focus on with you? The 3 red X's, right? Think back. I want you to think about it. They would always focus on the 3 red X's. They would say, you did this problem wrong, this problem wrong, this problem wrong. They wouldn't say, hey, congratulations. You did this problem right, 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 and this problem right, and this problem right. They wouldn't say that, right? They'd say, nope, you got this one wrong, this one wrong, this one wrong. That is a backwards way. It does not elevate people. It kills momentum. When we can focus on people's strengths, we can elevate the strength. When we elevate the strength, these other areas will evolve on their own. If we focus on the 17 ones they got right with a student, that student will all of a sudden realize why they got the other 3 wrong. They'll go, oh, yeah. I carried in this problem. I carried the 3 and I got the right answer. On that problem, I didn't carry the 3 and I got the wrong answer. Makes sense. By focusing on what they did right, on focusing on what's positive, on focusing on what energizes them, on focusing on their goods, the greatness that exists inside of them, not the weaknesses, not the flaws. That's how you elevate your people. That's how you continue to gain momentum. So please, let's stop focusing on weaknesses and only focus on strengths. Number 5, do not try and control everything. When people have to ask you for permission, they lose momentum. If your salesperson's in a position, they want to make a decision, they want to do the right thing for a customer, and they're rocking and rolling, they're moving forward, and they have to stop and then go track somebody down, and it takes them 15, 20 minutes to find you, and then they have to ask you all of these questions, and they have to try to justify the situation, and then ultimately you tell them no, that you're not interested in doing that. You take away their power, right? You take away their power, and you ultimately take away that momentum. You need to empower your people. You need to give them permission to make positive decisions that are aligned with your core values and your brand. You create that by setting expectations clearly of what they're able to do and what boundaries need to be created ultimately so that you still have control of the culture and the decisions within the dealership. But keep that in mind. Every single time someone has to ask for permission. Hey, do you think I could get a half point rate shave on this? Dude, don't go in there and just take control and do it for them. Say, what do you think? What do you think we should do? What do you think, right? What a great question. What do you think? So don't try to control everything. When you try to take control, you're taking my empowerment away and ultimately losing momentum. Right? So I gave you the 4 things that I need you to do, and that's 5 things I need you to not do. Do not talk about problems. Do not devalue wins or small wins. Do not separate the goal from your people. Make sure it's all people-centric. Do not focus on the weaknesses. Only focus on the strengths. And do not try to control every situation. Empower your people to make positive decisions. Listen, momentum is in the whispers. Momentum is a feeling that things are getting better. Momentum ultimately believes that winning is possible. And momentum in its purest form is hope. All right, guys and girls, you got this. Let's get out there and create some momentum for this upcoming season. All right, you've got the tools. You know what you need to do. If you have any questions about any of this, make sure you join the live sessions Tuesday and or Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you join those, and I'll see you then. All right, take care.